Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the European Aquatics Junior Diving Championship of Rzeszów 2024. I am Michele Benedetti, here for you for another afternoon of competitions. For this afternoon, we have three finals. The girls B 1 meter springboard final, the boys B platform final, and then later at 6:30 tonight we will have the synchronized 3 meter springboard final, boys A and B. A lot of action this afternoon in Rzeszów after already 3 great days of diving. Will be another great afternoon of diving here. 12 divers in the first event, as well as the second final, while we will have 10 teams in the last final of this afternoon in the synchronized 3 meter boys competition. As always, I want to remind you that there's a brand new app that you can find on the App Store and Google Play. Is Euro Aqua, the app of the European Aquatics. With our app, you'll get live results, exclusive content, real-time updates, behind-the-scenes access, and all the information you need at your fingertips. So don't miss out on that. Grab your phone, head to the App Store and Google Play, and search for Euro Aqua. It's free, it's easy. Download the app, register on it, and dive into the championship experience like never before. We are almost ready on deck to present the finalists of the first final of today, the girls B 1 meter springboard final. And here they are, the participant in this first final of the day. 12 divers, 3 dives per diver. Number 1, Lucia Bergen. Second diver from Italy, Marianna Cannone. Lita van Vert from the Netherlands. Zoe-Marie Schneider from Germany. Phoebe Morgan from Great Britain. Viola Bellato from Italy. Caitlin Coster from Great Britain. Amélie Bayol from France. Nina Berger from Germany. Eva Ereminova from Bulgaria. Yelizaveta Diadyuk from Ukraine, and her teammate Ksenia Bocek, also from Ukraine, obviously. Here they are, they're gonna get ready for the final. In the meantime, the technical diving committee members are gonna be presented at the pool, and referee, assistant referee, and the 7 judges. So once again, 3 dives in this final for each diver. We start the competition with the Ksenia Bocek in the lead, because the divers are starting with from the starting point of their competition is the end of the 5th round of the preliminary, where meaning that they carried on, as always in the juniors competitions, they carried on the scores of the required dives. You see a great shot of the pool, very good diving pool here in Rzeszów. And so we have Ksenia Boczek, I was saying, after the first 5 rounds this morning, she was leading at 185.70. Behind her, Nina Berger, the winner of the 3-meter final a couple of days ago. And Yelizaveta Diadyuk, the other Ukrainian diver, is in 3rd place as of right now at 175.15. But I gotta say that they're all very close. Still, anything is possible. An excellent competition by the 2 Ukrainians this morning. Excellent job by them. They do compete the exact same dives in the final. The 3 optionals, they have the inward 1.5 somersault pike, the forward 2.5 somersault pike, and the reverse 1.5 somersault pike, just in different order. And we're ready. We're ready with Lucia Bertin from Croatia, a forward 2.5 somersault tuck. So the order is the reverse order from the final, but you will see in the screen the rankings before this first dive are the rankings from the end of the 5th round from the morning session. Forward 2.5 somersault tuck for Lucia. Definitely not very fast. She has to wait a long time in the tuck position before kicking towards the ceiling of the pool in order to get it vertical. Marianna Cannone now from Italy, ready on the 1-meter springboard. Inward 1.5 somersault pike for the Italian diver from Trieste. Very fast in the somersault, should have brought that dive higher. She started spinning a little bit too early off the springboard, so left the dive short. 6.5 for 46.80 points. Now Lita van Weert from the Netherlands. She starts with 147.60 points, so she was the one that was in last place after, well, in 12th place after the 5th round of dives this morning. Reverse 1.5 somersault pike. Well executed, except for the knees that are completely bent in the air while somersaulting, and that's why she only gets 5.5 and 6s. 188.40 now for her in 3rd place. Zoe Marie Schneider from Germany, 159 points, her starting point in this competition. Inward 1.5 somersault pike, 2.4 degree of difficulty, and well executed, just a little bit low. Doesn't have enough room to get it completely vertical in the N3. 6.5 for her, 205.80. And now on the springboard we have Phoebe Morgan, forward 2.5 somersault pike for the British diver. Quite short in the N3. The jump, starting from the hurdle, the jumps that she did from the drive step and then after her press, they're not very strong. 5.5s for her from the judges. Viola Bellato, last year's champion in this event, last year's Junior European champion. She was in her first year at Junior Europeans and won the 1-meter final. 4 1.5 somersault full twist. Sharp, very sharp in the air in that twister, but definitely low. Not the highest jump we have seen today see that, just sixes for her. Could have done a bit better. 39 points, 39.60 for Viola. Caitlin Coster, inward 1.5 somersault pike for the British diver. Caitlin scored 163.85 points during her first 5 rounds this morning with the required dives. I remind you that the required dives have a maximum total degree of difficulty of 9.0 on the 1 meter springboard events, 9.5 on the 3 meters, and 7.6 on the platform events. Caitlin inward 1.5 somersault pike is a little bit short at the end, doesn't get completely vertical when getting in the water. So sixes for the British diver. Amélie Bayol, French diver. The French diver is showing us a forward 2.5 somersault tuck. Excellent position in the air. Her somersault is very sharp, elegant, pointed toes perfectly. Just a little bit too far forward from the board, leaning too far out of the springboard on the takeoff with her shoulders. That's what causes the distance between her entry and the board, the tip of the board. On the springboard, Nina Berger. Nina won the 3 meter event 2 days ago with an excellent comeback. She did a great job in the optionals, in the final. The 3 dives were excellent and won. Does a good job here, and not a great takeoff. Off the springboard, she's quite low. Takes her a long time in a pike position to get vertical. And sixes for her, 43.20 on these dives. She takes the lead. Eva Ereminova from Bulgaria, 3rd place for her this morning. She starts at 173.90. Inward 1.5 somersault pike for her as well. And a good dive. Didn't get completely straight when getting in the water, but I gotta say it was very sharp, much faster than the German diver before her somersaulting. So 7s from the judges, not bad at all to start the final. On the springboard, Elizaveta Diadyuk from Ukraine. Also for the young Ukrainian diver, an inward 1.5 somersault pike. And also for her, an excellent job. Could have kept the dive a little bit closer and higher, but overall an excellent execution. Very sharp in the pike position, perfect straight legs and pointed toes and feet. 225.55 total after this first round of optionals for the Ukrainian, who takes the lead. Her teammate Ksenia Bocek, same dive, always 2.4 degree of difficulty. And a great job, very strong off the springboard, very nice. Probably not as elegant as the 2 divers before her, but definitely much stronger off the springboard and higher. 7.5 for her. She takes the lead by 14 points now. You see it on screen. The 2 Ukrainians in first, Nina Berger and Eva Ereminova, are right behind Elizaveta Diadyuk. They're all very close, within 1 point, 3 divers. And the 2 Italians with the French diver a little bit further back in the rankings. Lucia Berrettini, we start the 2nd round of dives. Very fast competition, only 3 rounds of dives for the young ladies. Let's see, Lucia Beretin, inward 1.5 somersault pike, also for the Croatian diver. And you easily notice the difference between the Ukrainian diver Ksenia Bocek before her and Lucia, much lower on the takeoff. It is a great dive, still good, very good dive by Lucia, but the difference between these diver that gets 6.5, and the 7.5s from the Ukrainian is the height, much higher, starting from the takeoff for the Ukrainian. Now Marianna Cannone, the Italian diver, a forward 2.5 somersault tuck for her, 2.4 degree of difficulty. Good dive because she ends up getting vertical and completely straight, but extremely fast when it was time to squat on the board, take the board down as much as possible in order to then get a response from it and go high in the air, and that does not happen in Marianna's dive, so very low, 5.5s for the Italian diver. A little mistake there, only 42 points. Lita van Wert from the Netherlands, the Dutch diver, struggling a little bit there on the hurdle, but does a great job on this forward 2.5 somersault pike to recover. That was a mistake on the hurdle. Her toes were completely over at the end, but I gotta say that she managed to do the best possible from that stance at the end of the board. 6s on this dive for the Dutch diver, who gets closer to Marianna Cannone now, but in third place at the moment, the Dutch diver. Zoe Schneider, forward 2.5 somersault tuck, so the same dive as the Dutch diver before her, but in a tuck position. And an excellent kick out of the tuck position to get a perfect entry. Very clean. Very clean. 7s from the judges. 2:56.20. And she's right behind Marianna Cannone, just 1 point behind in second place. Very close. Phoebe Morgan from Great Britain. Phoebe is now showing us an inward 1.5 somersault pike. A lot of rocking on the board before the takeoff. A lot of upper body movement on the takeoff also, very far from the board. She was going up and down on the board before pressing it, and there was just way too much movement backwards, too much distance from the board in this dive, and 6s for her. Viola Bellato, the second Italian diver, forward 2.5 somersault pike for her this morning. Quite a mistake on this dive, just 3.5s from the judges. She has to do much better on it if she wants a chance to get a medal today. And good, much better than this morning for sure, but definitely she is not moving very well today. We've seen her, especially last year in this event, she was much higher in her dives, just 5.5s. She's not on track for a medal today. We have on the board Caitlin Coster. I was checking Viola Bellato's result before the last round of dive, 251.50, while last year she won with 312, which means, well, we saw Caitlin being quite short on the back 1.5 somersault pike. I was saying Viola Bellato at 251, it means she needs 61 points to do as well as she did last year, and that is very hard to do on her last dive. On her last dive, she has the inward 1.5 somersault pike, and she would need 9s for that. Let's move on. We have Amélie Bayol, reverse 1.5 somersault pike for the French diver. and she pulls with her upper body on the come out from the pike position, where she also bent her knees a little bit. She pulls with her upper body too far back and ends up going over. 250.15, and she's just 1 point behind Viola Bellato. So just 7 points between first and fourth place at the moment. Cannone, Schneider, Bellato, and Viola are within 7 points. And we see now Nina Berger. This is the battle for medal starts here. 4 with 2.5 somersault. Pike rolled a little bit at the bottom. Needed to keep her hands and head steady while getting in the water. She rolls down a little bit and slightly goes over instead of getting straight in the entry. 268. Now Nina Berger has an 11-point lead ahead of Marianna Cannone, who's in second. Eva Eremenova from Bulgaria, her second optional in this competition, is a back 1.5 somersault pike. 2.3 degree of difficulty. And for Eva, 33.30 points, 44 points will give her the lead. It's a good dive. It's a good dive. Not a perfect takeoff. Her hips are too far back when she jumps off the board. They're leaning back, so it creates a lot of distance between her and the board. But she does get 3 points ahead of Nina Berger. As I told you, that's where the battle for medal is. Let's see Elisaveta Diadiuk, one of the 2 divers born in 2010, so first year in the B group, first year at Junior European Championship. Reverse 1.5 somersault pike, quite heavy in the entry, short and not completely, she couldn't place her hands very well in the entry, and these caused the dive to remain short, and she is now in third place, falling down in third place as of right now, and most likely in fourth after her teammates dive. Ksenia Bocek on the board. She had a big lead, 14 points lead after her first optional, and could take advantage of her teammate mistake in the previous dive. Very strong. Once again, very strong off the board. Excellent pike position in the air. Very fast in the somersault, and a quite clean entry. 7th for her with 294 points. She's way ahead of everyone else in the lead. Now we have the standings before the last round of dives. You see Ksenia Bocek, 294, 23 points lead. Eva Eremenova in second, Nina Berger in third, but look at that, they're all within 4 points. Eva, Nina, and Elisaveta, all within 4 points. And let me tell you, even Marianna Cannone and Zoe Schneider, who are 10 points, 10, 13 points behind, if the first 3 make a mistake, they still have a chance of getting a medal. We start our last round of dives. An easy dive for the Croatian diver Lucia Bertin. Backward 1.5 somersault with a half twist. And a little bit slow, her takeoff, what happens in the takeoff, she twists ahead of time before her legs go up and start a somersault. So she needs also to grab her hands, to grab her legs behind her knees. That's something usually we don't see on this dive. And now Marianna Cannone on the board, while apologize, I didn't give you Lucia Bertin's final score, which is 269.25. Marianna Cannone now a forward 1.5 somersault foot twist for the Italian. Not a great dive by Marianna. Her upper body is completely over the end of the board when coming down from the hurdle. 35.20 points, and Marianna Cannone is at 292. Didn't reach Ksenia Bocek with an extra dive, in this case the Italian. Lita van Weert. Lita van Weert on the springboard, the Dutch diver, finishing her competition with an inward 1.5 somersault pike. And definitely her best dive of the afternoon here. 6.5 sevens are the scores that count. 50.40. By far her best dive of the afternoon. Very well executed, and especially very, very clean in the entry. Now on the springboard, Zoe Marie Schneider. Her last dive. Her last dive is a backward 1.5 somersault pike. And it's not bad. Very similar to the one that Eva, the Bulgarian diver, Eva Yerminova did in the previous round, where her hips are leaning too far back in the moment in which the diver takes off and jumps off the board. So she creates too much distance between her entry and the tip of the board. 6s for her. 6s from the judges for her on this dive. Now on the board is Phoebe Morgan. Back 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, 2.5 degree of difficulty for Morgan. Also, this dive is quite far away. This time around, it's not the hips that create the distance, but she pulled with her upper body, with her shoulders and head way too far back when she took off. She was almost completely horizontal and parallel to the water when she took off. That's very far away from the board. Not high scores, just 4.5 from the judges because of that. And now Viola Bellato inward 1.5 somersault pike. Italian diver who won last year and don't have many chances of winning again this year in Rzeszów. Not very sharp this time around. This is her best optional though. Very, very sharp and elegant in the pike position. And once again, though, it seems like she doesn't press enough the board with her legs in order to get a fast jump. 6.5 and 7s for the Italian. Kaylin Koster on the board, forward 2.5 somersault pike, while Viola Bellato is in the lead right now at 300 points, 12 points less than what she scored last year. And Caitlin Koster from Great Britain, forward 2.5 somersault pike, not high enough to make it completely vertical in the entry. 5s and 5.5s from the judges. She's in 5th place at the moment. French diver Amélie Bayot. She finishes with a standing dive, no hurdles to deal with for her. Inward 1.5 somersault pike. Needs 50.55 points to be ahead of Viola Bellato, so that means 7s. And most likely not gonna get those. She once again rolled her head down on the entry, made the dive pass. Instead of getting vertical on the come out, she just stayed pike and dropped her head. 6.5, 45 points. 5 points behind of Viola Bellato in 3rd place at the moment. Behind also Zoe Schneider. Eva Ereminova, let's see, this is a battle for medals. Eva was in 2nd place before this last round. Forward 2.5 somersault tuck. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. We have Nina Berger on the springboard. My bad. The German diver forward 1.5 somersault double twist. The dive is clean and vertical in the entry, but it's extremely far away because coming down from the hurdle, She steps back with her feet and leans forward with her shoulders. That creates too much distance. Let's see what the judges think, and exactly 5.5. She takes the lead at 312.75. That's where the bar for medals is right now. With this score, with 312 points, Viola Bellato last year won the Junior European Championship in this event. Let's see now Eva Ereminova. Forward 2.5 somersault tuck, 2.4 degree of difficulty, and Eva needs 29 points. Excuse me, 41 points on that. It was a good dive, most likely scoring above 40. Not fast enough, kicking out. Yes, 43 points and she takes the lead. She needed 41. Sixes, no more than that because it took her a very long time to kick out of the tuck position, but we see her on screen hugging her coach, very happy because this dive gave her for sure a medal today. The first Ukrainian diver. Forward 2.5 somersault pike for Elisaveta Diadiuk. Well executed, but a bit short in the entry. Need a little bit more speed. She does take the lead though right now at 3:18. Very happy we see her also on screen hugging her coach. First experience at Junior Europeans. They're already getting a medal. Amazing job. The leader throughout the whole competition, Ksenia Bocek, reverse 1.5 somersault pike for the Ukrainian diver. She was at 294, so needs 25 points to win. Very good top. Slightly over, but definitely the winner is Ksenia this afternoon here in Rzeszów. Very strong off the springboard, extremely fast in the somersault with 347.10 points. Ksenia Bocek from Ukraine wins this final. Once again, another competition where only the last dive gave us the final standings. Here you have them in official results of the Girls B 1 meter springboard final. Ksenia Bocek with 347.10 points wins 28.85 points ahead of silver medalist Elisaveta Diadiuk, her teammate, and an historical medal for Eva Ereminova for Bulgaria. 314.65 bronze medal for her, for the Bulgarian diver. We see the boys warming up on platform. We have a little bit more than half an hour before the second final of the afternoon will start. As always, the top 12 ranked divers from the morning prelims performing only the optional dives, and starting in reverse order from the prelims rankings, but starting with the scores of the voluntary dives, so the first 4 dives of the morning session. I am Michele Benedetti. I suggest to get on Google Play and the App Store as always in the breaks. I remind you about Euro Aqua app, the app where you can find all the final results, the news, and all the insights of the European Aquatics Championships. A little bit more than half an hour and I'll be back here for the Boys B platform final. See you in a little bit. we are back live from Rzeszów for the second final of the afternoon. Boys B platform final. 12 divers, 4 dives per diver. In just a few seconds, we have the boys being presented on deck. Here they are, showing up on screen right now. The 12 divers who will perform in this event. First diver Peter Szabo from Hungary, Spiridos Katsujanis, Erik Richter from Austria, Pekka Koppinen from Finland, Erik Passerone from Switzerland, Sebastian Wilcox from Great Britain, Robbie Wood from Great Britain, Marco Valenti from Italy, Nunzio Steffenhagen from Germany, Valery Maliev from Ukraine, Ivan Brenzina from Germany, and Davide Barberi from Italy. Just a few minutes now before we'll be up on the platforms. As always, for the junior competitions on the platform, the boys are allowed to use the 5 meter, 7.5 meter, and the 10 meter platforms. That's the difference between the junior competitions and the senior competitions, where in the senior events, divers must perform all of their dives on the 10 meter platform. This morning, we had Davide Barberi in first, Ivan Brenzin in second, and Valery Maliev in third. But we started this final with Robbie Wood in the lead. Robbie did an excellent job with his required dives, scoring 166 total points, and then made 2 big mistakes in the last 2 rounds: reverse 2.5 somersault tuck on 10 meters for 4.5s, and the biggest mistake of his morning session was the inward 3.5 somersault in the last round, only scoring 22 points, so 2.5s from the judges. Lost a lot of ground there. While Davide Barberi, who is starting this final in second place at 162 points, won the prelims after doing an excellent job on his last round in the back 3.5 somersault tuck, scoring 87.45 points. He got 8.5s and 9s from the judges on that dive. Amazing, excellent execution of that dive. We'll see him do it again, hopefully as well, in the last round. Will be the very last dive of the final. We're ready on the platform. There's Peter Szabo on the 7 meters platform for a forward 2.5 somersault pike. A good takeoff, slightly over in the entry, but overall a good execution. Probably should have been a little bit faster in the somersault. Didn't get a perfect vertical line in the entry. 5.5 and 6s, 174 points for him. Now on the platforms, once again on the 7 meter platform, we have Spiridion Kotsagiannis from Greece. Oh, great entry for the quick diver on the inward 2.5 somersault tuck, 2.7 degree of difficulty. Very, very clean when getting in the water. 7.5s from the judges. A good start in this final for the Greek diver. 187.20. Next up, from Austria, Richter. Forward 2.5 somersault pike on 7 meters. 2.4 degree of difficulty. And another good entry. Another good entry. Usually we see these dive either performed on 5, or most of the divers will do some of the divers will do forward 3.5 somersault pike on 10. 7.5s and 8, though a great execution for Eric. Very clean entry. On 7 meters again, Veikka Kaupinen. For him, an inward 2.5 somersault tuck. Very young divers, born 2009 and 2010. Not all of them have the optionals ready on the 10 meters platform yet. Six and a halves for the judges from the judges for Veikka, 190.95, and I was checking the start list. Want to see how many divers have all the dives, the optional dives on 10 meters. Eric Passerone and Davide Barberi, only 2 out of 12 have all the optionals on 10 meters in this competition. Now on the platform we have Eric Passerone, back to 3.5 somersault tuck. Nicely done, very good, very hard dive for this age group. Very well executed, slightly short but extremely good on the takeoff. Enough speed to get vertical, and this is a high scoring dive, 69.30, 212.30, and he is in first place. Excellent job on a very difficult dive. Sebastian Wilcox from the Great Britain, inward 2.5 somersault tuck on 7 meters. Sebastian needs 61 points on this dive to take the lead. Great start of the competition for Eric Passerone on that back 3.5 somersault tuck, impressive. And Sebastian ends up going quite over in this rotation. Doesn't come out at the right time, waits a little bit too long, and goes over. 194.75 total points for him after this first optional. His teammate Robbie Wood is on the platform, the leader after the required dives in the morning. Backward 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, 3.2 degree of difficulty. Excellent execution. He's going to score high. The takeoff was perfectly straight, up in the air, very fast in the somersault. Could have stayed tighter in his core to get an even better entry overall, and an excellent execution though. 6.5 and 7s with 231.60 points. Robbie is in the lead. And now Marco Valenti on 7 meters. On the 7.5 meters platform, backward 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. So this is a much easier dive. The previous diver Robbie did the same exact dive, but added an extra somersault from the 10 meters platform. So we would call this a lead up, the dive that Marco just performed very well. Good entry. And you saw how much slower in the air the movements happened for Marco Valenti. Didn't have to add an extra somersault. Overall, does a good job with this dive. Could have been a little bit stronger off the platform. 48 points on this dive for the Italian diver. Nunzio Steffenhagen, forward 3.5 somersault pike. We We have 4 divers from the first year in this age group at the first experience at Junior Europeans. And Nunzio in this forward 3.5 somersault pike ends up going quite past the ideal vertical line to get a perfect entry. His legs just go over, makes a lot of splashes, 5s, 4.5 and 5s for him. 204.75. He is in 3rd place. Valery Maliev, 3rd after the morning session. At the end of the morning session, inward 2.5 somersault tuck for Valery. A good job, very fast in the somersault. Takes a great jump, leaps up off the platform very well, and then waits the perfect time to kick out of the tuck position. The judges agree, 7s for him. 65.10 is in 2nd place. Ivan Prenzina. We've seen this dive before, backward 2.5 somersault 1.5 twist. We saw it performed by Robbie Wood earlier. 3.2 again, the degree of difficulty, and Ivan needs 70.70 points to take the lead. So 7.5s and 8s on this dive. He does a good job all the way until he gets to the time of coming out of the pike position. It drops his head and goes slightly over. 216.98. These, I consider this as a tiny mistake, because he's definitely one of those divers looking for a medal. He should have done a bit better lining up this dive. The winner of this morning session, Davide Barberi, 4th place for him last year in this event at his first Junior European Championship. Much more experienced this year. Definitely wants a medal. Same dive as the German diver before him. A good dive. It was fast enough to get vertical. Actually, even passes the vertical line in the entry. The biggest mistake is he loses control of his feet, completely splits his leg apart in the transition between the twist and the somersault. Just 4.5 and 5.5s for him. 211 points. And now Robbie Wood has quite an advantage already. 15 points ahead of Valery Maliev and Ivan Prenzina. See the standings there. I gotta say, in this first round, I was very impressed with the first dive of Eric Passerone, the very hard back 3.5 somersault tuck. Very well executed by the Swiss diver Peter Chabot. Now ready to start the 2nd round of dives. We moved very fast in this first round, and we start the 2nd one. Inward 2.5 somersault tuck for the Hungarian diver. Ooh, completely missed. What happened here? He got a very good takeoff. Very fast, great jump, very fast in the somersault. As soon as he got in that tuck position, dropped his head, didn't understand anymore where he was in the air, came out way too late. 2s from the judges. It's only 16.20 points on this dive. Spiridon Kotsagiannis. Forward 3.5 somersault tuck from the 7 meters. Oh, well done. This is the lead up for then later on he will do with this lead up the 4.5 somersault tuck on 10 meters. So excellent execution. Could have been cleaner when coming out of the tuck position and get better legs position in the entry. 6s for the great diver from the judges. Overall, good job on this hard dive. And Spiridon is in first at 236. Next up is Eric Richter. Inward 2.5 somersault tuck. Ooh, nice clean entry on this inward 2.5 somersault tuck. Very well executed, especially the way he came out, perfect timing and extremely clean. 62.10. Eric does a great job with this dive. Veikka Kappinen back to an half somersault tuck on 7 meters. Good, good. I really like the way he spotted and came out. Very strong kick to stop the rotation. Could have jumped it a little bit higher. Wasn't the greatest top part of the dive, but definitely an excellent execution. 248 points now for the Finnish diver. On the platform, Eric Passerone backward 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. Had a great first round, the Swiss diver. Let's see how he does on this second round. 52 points to take the lead. Good dives. Very similar to the Italian diver Davide Barberi who did this dive earlier. He also loses control of his feet in the air. You saw his feet not being together throughout the dive, and also the entry is not very clean. Overall, though, a good dive, 272. He takes the lead. He's 9 points ahead of Austrian diver Eric Richter. Sebastian Wilcox now back 2.5 somersault tuck on 7 meters. .77 points needed to take the lead for the British diver. That is not going to happen overall. It's not too bad. Just lifted his head on the takeoff before taking off. Shifted backwards a little bit too much. Had a lot of upper body movement on that takeoff and carried that movement in the entry as well, going over sixes. 50.40 points on this dive, and he sits in 4th place right now. On the platform, his teammate Robbie Wood, who is going to show us exactly the same dive. The leader so far in this competition definitely wants to do a bit better than his teammate. Oh, perfect entry. How clean that was. Amazing job by the British diver. Robbie gets a great kick to stop the somersault, and the line in the entry is amazing. 71.40, another excellent job by Robbie Wood. 303 points, is 31 points ahead of Eric Passerone, setting the bar for the first place after 2 optionals. We have Marco Valenti now on the 7-meter platform, inward 2.5 somersault tuck for the Italian diver from Rome. Marco in Rome is coached by his father, Luca Valenti, former Italian diver. And Marco does a good job on the takeoff. Doesn't pick up much speed in the somersault though, and the entry is quite heavy. Many splashes come out of the water. He doesn't have enough time to push with his arms, hands, and shoulders to the water. 6s for him. And now Marco is at 249.45 points. Nunzio Stefan again. Same dive as Marco Valenti did, the Italian diver before him, but on the 5-meter platform. Good job. This dive is much harder, obviously, because there is 2.5 meters less. So that's a good job with that line of 60 points for him. 62 points for him on this dive. So he's at 266 points total now. On the platform now from 5 meters, Valery Malyeyev. Back 2.5 somersault tuck. Way too short. The takeoff is completely wrong. It never jumps up in the air, just jumps too far away from the platform and didn't pick up enough momentum to get vertical. Huge mistake for the Ukrainian diver. Only 40.50 points for him here. And at 257 points, he's in 5th place. Ivan Prenzina, 3rd place for him after the first optional. Forward 3.5 somersault pike for Ivan. 5th place for him last year in this event. Needs 86 points to take the lead. That means 9.5 centimes. Not going to happen, but overall, an excellent execution of this dive. Very, very fast in the somersault. Very strong jump. The entry is just not clean. The placement of the hands in the water is not correct. And not a perfect rip entry. 58 points for him on this dive. Davide Barberi, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck for the Italian diver. 4th place for him last year. He's very good at spotting in the air where he is, and typically he is very good in the backward entries. And you can see it here. Perfect clean entry for Davide. Extremely clean. The takeoff is a little bit too far away from the platform, but look at that. 8.5s from the judges. Davide Barberi in 2nd place right now at 280 points. 8 points advantage in front of, 5 points advantage in front of Ivan Prenzina. We see Robbie Wood still leading, 23 points ahead of Davide Barberi. Eric Passerone in 3rd at 272. We're halfway through the competition. 2 more rounds of optionals. And we started with Petr Chabot, the 3rd round. Back 2.5 somersault tuck on the 5 meters platform. 12th place for Peter. And once again, he's quite short. Doesn't give enough time to his legs to finish that jump. So the dive ends up falling rapidly to the water. Quite short, 45 points for him. Spiridon from Greece. Backward 1.5 somersault, 2.5 twist from 7.5 meters platform. This morning for him on this dive. 42 points. He does a good job with this dive. It took him a long time to pike safe underwater. We saw it from an underwater shot there. Not bad at all. Sharp in the air and not perfectly clean. He should have pike saved underwater faster in order to get a cleaner entry, but overall 57 points is not bad at all. Much better than what he did this morning. Eric Richter now back 2.5 somersault tuck. Eric was in 6th place after halfway through the competition. Let's see how he does his 3rd dive. And very slow in the somersault. He pulls back with his head way too hard on the takeoff. He can't squeeze anymore very fast. That tuck position requires a long time before he comes out. And 5s from the judges for him. Veikka Kauppinen back 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist on 5 meters. Always interesting in this B group. I guess there are 14, 15 years old, you see the difference between some ones that already have the optionals on 10 meters and the other ones that do what we typically call the lead-ups, dives that you do on 5 and 7 meters that will later on become harder dives on 10 meters. Like, for example, this one that Leica did on 5 meters. If he adds one somersault, becomes a backward 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist on 10 meters. That one dive we have seen already in this competition. Forward 3.5 somersault pike for Eric Passerone. Good top. Excellent takeoff. The speed was perfect. The jump was great. He loses control of his core. His abs get loose and back gets arched in the water. Could have done a better job with the entry, but with 329 points, now he's in the lead. With a cleaner entry instead of 6.5s on this dive, it could have, with a very good entry, this would have been easily 8s, 7.5 and 8s. But again, it took the lead. Now reverse 2.5 somersault tuck for Sebastian on 10 meters. A good job. Once again, we've seen a few divers do this mistake already during the competition. He pulls backwards with his head on the takeoff, doesn't pick up a lot of speed, but he's very good at understanding the right timing of coming out of the somersault. 63 points, 309 points. He's in second right now. His teammate Robbie Wood, the leader of the competition, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck for him this morning. For Robbie on this dive, only 37 points. He definitely wants to do much better here. And he does. He does much better than the morning. Excellent takeoff. Excellent kick. And a perfect entry. 9s from the judges. Even a 10 from judge number 2. That doesn't count, unfortunately, but with 9s, 75.60, Robbie did amazing in this dive. Perfect dive for the British diver. Marco Valenti now, back 2.5 somersault tuck on the 7.5 meter platform. Wow, Robbie Wood did amazing. He's doing amazing so far. 378, almost 50 points ahead of the second place right now. Marco on 7 meters. He waits the perfect time to kick, but not enough room to get vertical. Slightly short. Waited long and long before kicking. The take, it's a good dive, don't get me wrong. 7s, but this takeoff should have been much faster. Stronger jump needed to get completely vertical. Overall, does a great job here with that dive. Now on the platform, Nunzio, same dive as Marco Valenti, but on 5. Once again, a few divers did it already, pulls with his shoulders and head backwards before jumping. That causes the dive to fall very fast towards the water and not have enough room to understand correctly the right time of the kick. Does that too late and ends up going over. Valery Maliev, 7th place for him. Big mistake in the previous round, forward 3.5 somersault for the Ukrainian diver. Does a good job with this. Probably a bit too far away from the platform, but definitely perfect understanding of what was going on in the air and what was the right time to come out. 67.50, third place at the moment. 5 points behind Eric Passerone. That's most likely where the fight for medals will be. Let's see how Ivan Prenzina does his back 3.5 somersault tuck. Very hard dive for him this morning on this dive. 52 points. and with 52 points, it will be close to Eric Passerone. Not gonna happen. This dive is way too short. He didn't finish that jump. He didn't let his legs completely get straight on the takeoff. He doesn't have enough room to get vertical, but he's very, very close. Just 5 points behind Eric Passerone and 324 points, just like the Ukrainian diver Valery Maliev. They're all very close. Now we have Davide Barberi forward 3.5 somersault pike. Huge mistake for him this morning on this dive. He got only 33 points this morning on this dive. And once again, not an excellent execution of this dive for the young Italian diver. Doesn't get vertical when getting in the water. Causes the dive to splash a lot. 48 points, and wow, we have a big battle for medals. You have in a few seconds, in a couple of seconds, you'll have the standings before the last round. We have Robbie Wood in the lead with a huge advantage, 50 points ahead of Eric Passerone. And then look at that, between Eric Passerone at 329 and Ivan Prenzina at 324, just 5 points, 4 people in 5 points. That's where the battle is, and don't count Nunzio Stefenhagen out at 317. They're all very close. Anything can happen. Last round of dive starts now. Don't leave the screen, because this is gonna be very interesting in just a few minutes when we'll get to the divers that are fighting for medals. Now we had Petr Szabo finishing with a backward 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist on 7 meters. 5.5 and 6s for him. He closes at 277.95. I was checking. We have 3 more divers, and then the first diver that is there in the battle for medals, Eric Passerone. Just 3 more dives, and then we'll see him. Now on the platform is Spiridion Kotsagiannis, forward armstand, double somersault pike. A good dive. Spiridion was in 11th place. Does a good job here. Probably should have been sharper with his legs on the takeoff and entry. Should have pointed his toes better. 5.5s for him, 38.40 points. He closes at 332 points. Eric Richter on 7.5 meter platform. A back 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. Much lower degree of difficulty dive for him. This one is an easy dive. 2.4 degree of difficulty for the Austrian. Very, very slow on the somersault, and quite short in the entry. He needed more speed in the somersault. Doesn't get his hips and legs completely vertical, and only 5s from the judges. Eric finishes at 341 points. Now Veikka Kaupinen, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck on 7 meters. I was checking how the guys battling for a medal did in the morning. Eric Passerone had a huge mistake in the inward 3.5 somersault tuck. We'll see it after this dive. And the Finnish diver does a good job with his reverse 2.5 somersault tuck. Probably could have waited a tiny bit longer to get completely vertical. Ended up a bit short, but 7s for him, not bad at all. Closes at 352 points. I was saying Eric Passerone and Robbie Wood in the last dive this morning, inward 3.5 somersault tuck for both of them, scored very low. So once again, anything can happen. Let's see what Eric does this afternoon in the final. Only 30 points this morning for him on this dive, and only 22 points for Robbie Wood on this dive this morning. While Davide Barberi scored almost 90 points on his last dive, so anything can still happen. Let's see, Eric, inward, 3.5 somersault tuck. And he does a much better job. He's setting the bar for at least, well, for gold. He seems very happy with that in the water, already cheering. Let's see. The judges, 6.5 and 7s are the scores that count for him. 65.60, 394.60. That's where gold is right now. Robbie Wood only needs 16 points to get ahead of Eric Passerone, but I'm already checking. Davide Barberi needs 66, Valery Maliev needs 69, as well as Ivan Prenzina. And don't count Nunzio Stefanhagen out. He needs 76. Now on the platform is Sebastian Wilcox, forward 2.5 somersault full twist. A good dive, probably too far away from the platform. Needed 86 points to get ahead of Eric Passerone. That is not going to happen. 58, he closed at 366. Again, the dive wasn't bad, just jumped too far away from the platform, and the pike position was very wide. Should have squeezed that a little bit longer. The leader throughout the competition, Robbie Wood, is on the platform for his last dive. Inward 3.5 somersault tuck. Let's see how he does that. Once again, only 22 points this morning for him on this dive. Definitely wants much more than that. And he's gonna get more than that for sure. Not an excellent dive though. The previous rounds he did a much better job. I did not like the takeoff here, jumping very far away from the platform. But wow, 436.20. It is an excellent score for the British diver. Amazing job. And he's let me check who still has to dive that. He is mathematically already the winner of this event, because the closest one is Davide Barberi, that still has to dive, and he needs 108 points, mathematically impossible with a backward 3.5 somersault tuck. Marco Valenti finishes with a forward 2.5 somersault pike, the young Italian diver, first year in the big group, first year at Junior European Championship, does a great job this afternoon. 354.85, not bad at all overall score for Marco. Nunzio Stefanhagen now, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck on 7 meters. Hard dive. We've seen this dive being performed on 10 meters usually. On 7 at these ages requires a lot of speed and a great jump off the platform. Let's see how it is. Oh, great dive. Very good. I gotta say, the somersault wasn't the fastest we've seen, but definitely a perfect understanding of the timing of the come out. Great line, 380.10. It is in third place behind Eric Passerone. That's where bronze is at the moment. Valery Maliev for Valery. Well, 111 points, impossible for him to get gold. But that means 70 points, sorry, on this backward 2.5 somersault 1.5 twist to get silver. And it's gonna be close. It's gonna be very close. I don't want to say anything. The dive was well executed. The entry could have been cleaner, but definitely a good dive for him. And 68.80 is just 1 point behind Eric Passerone. I was gonna say, I said it. It was gonna be very close, and indeed, just 1 point behind this Swiss diver. Now, Ivan Prenzina, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck, same as his teammate. He's doing this dive on 7. A good dive. A good dive. I don't know if gonna score as high as his teammate before. This was heavy in the entry with 53 points. He's already in fifth, losing ground on this last dive. Little mistake in the entry. A cleaner entry would have given him probably a spot on the podium, but not in this case. Now we have Davide Barberi, the last dive. Once again, 87 points for him this morning. That will give him a silver medal for sure, but he needs 74 points. Let's see it. And once again, a great dive. Not as good as the one he did this morning. Not 87, but a great dive, slightly over. Let's see what the judges think about this dive. Second place for the Italian diver, 399.15 total points. With 70 points, he gets ahead of Eric Passerone by 5 points. Excellent, excellent job by all the divers. You have these standings, official results of this Boys B platform final. Robbie Wood wins with 436.20, a perfect competition for him. David Barberi in second, 319.15, and Eric Passerone in third, 394.60, leaving Valery Maliev just 1 point behind. Amazing job by these young divers. You see the rest of the rankings here. Amazing job by all of them. Congratulations to Robbie Wood, who after leading throughout the all competition also nails his last dive and with 436.20 wins. Well, this has been once again a very fun competition. In less than an hour we have the boys A and B group performing the 5 dives for the synchronized 3-meter final. I am Michele Benedetti. I'll be back here right before that final. Don't leave, or leave and then make sure you come back, because we have one more event this afternoon in Rzeszów. See you in a little bit. We're back at the pool in Rzeszów for the last event of this afternoon at the European Aquatic Junior Diving Championship. The last final is the boys synchro 3-meter springboard final. Boys from the age group of A and B all together can compete. 5 dives in this event. We have 10 teams. You see them on deck ready to be presented. Here's first team up is Team Great Britain with Noah Penman and Oscar Wilcox. Cyril Azarov and Maxim Mirza from Ukraine. Team Axer and Max Otto. Fourth team up, Folke Barenius and Peder Sauer Ubred from Sweden. Baptista Lamanno and Pierre de Persin. From Italy, Valerio Mosca and Matteo Santoro. From Turkey, Bertung Demir and Baris Kinici. Alexandre Skomelidze and Georgi Sulukidze from Georgia. Aurelien Pedu and Kevin Sigona from Switzerland. And the last team up, Luka Martinovic and Matej Neveskanin from Croatia. 10 teams, 5 dives. These 5 dives, at least 4 groups of dives, must be performed. 4 out of the 5 available in diving, obviously from the springboard events. The forward, backward, reverse, inward, and twister. No armstand obviously on springboard. So 4 of these groups must be performed. 1 can be repeated. Here you have the chair and the TDC, the Technical Diving Committee Vice Chair Secretary presented. The referee for this event is Georgia Firigo. And the assistant referees are Meta Lefsen. All the judges, the 9 judges, are gonna be presented right now. And shortly we'll start the final. Last year in this event, Ukraine won with the same divers competing here today, Cirilo and Maxim. Second place was Team Italy with Matteo Santoro and Matteo Cafiero, so different diver in Team Italy. And in third place was Team Great Britain with Leon Baker and Johan McCabe, not here this afternoon. And last year, also, well, in fourth was Team Croatia and in fifth Team Germany. And these 5 teams last year were all within 4 points. So Ukraine won with 299.49, Italy 299.34, Great Britain 298.53, Croatia 295.50, and Germany 295.20. So all within 4 points. It was a very, very close competition. Hopefully it will be again like that here, because that makes things very much more interesting for us watching. We are about to start. Almost ready. First team up is Team Great Britain, not ready on the springboard yet. Still waiting a few seconds. It's 6:29 right now, and just 45 seconds before we hit 6:30 sharp, when the referee should start this competition. I was checking the start list. We have, as always, in the synchronized events, the first 2 dives have a degree of difficulty of 2.0. So you will see easier dives, and then the last 3 rounds, the degree of difficulty goes up for the optionals. We have the top teams: Germany, Italy, also Ukraine. They're all doing forward 3.5 somersault, forward 2.5 somersault 1 twist, and forward 2.5 somersault 2 twist as their optionals. These three teams. I want to add to that group also Team Croatia, very good team. We start in 1.5 somersault pike for Team Great Britain, a little bit of rhythm. Since the very beginning when they were on the board, rocking the board, not completely at the same time. So could have been a little bit better considering it is a voluntary dive. Very easy dive, just a 1.5. Noah and Oscar score 43.80. Probably could have done a little bit better here. Next up, we have Team Ukraine with Cyrilo Azarov and Maxim Mirza. Inward dive pike for them. And considering the degree of difficulty is stuck at 2.0, no matter what dive you compete on, this dive is obviously much easier to compete easy dives. It's better, safer. And Ukraine does an amazing job to start their competition. Perfect synchronization on this inward dive pike. It's an easier dive to perform compared to the 1.5, and they do amazing on this dive. 8.5s and 9s, 50.40. They take the lead. Now Team Germany, Team Axer and Maxotto. Maxotto was here last year in this event with a different teammate. Teammate last year was Jonathan Schauer, born in 2005, so is no more a junior athlete. He's moved on to the seniors. Let's see how Germany does. Back dive pike. Perfectly synchronized as well. Very good shot. Probably not as clean individually as the Ukrainians did, but definitely perfect synchronization. See 8.5 from the judges. Team Sweden on the board, Barenius and Sauer. For them, also a back dive pike, just like the Germans. And also for them, a good timing of the board together in the air. Both divers are a little bit too far from the board. You see it. Even a 6 from judge number 3 for the execution. 8 in synchro, should have stayed closer to the board probably. Next up, Team France, Alamanno and De Persine. Also for them a back dive pike. We see many divers, many teams doing this back dive pike in the voluntaries. And you saw it here from the French divers, how the rhythm of the board wasn't exactly the same. Also, in this case, the person was also further away from the board. So only 42.60, and they're in 5th place at the moment. But after the first 2 rounds, they're most likely all the teams, or at least top 5 to 6 teams, are going to be extremely close in the rankings and the total score after 2 dives, and the things will get much more interesting with the optional dives, like the last 3 rounds. That's when, with the higher degree of difficulty, things get fun. Let's see the Italians. A good dive by the Italians. Valerio Mosca, closer to the camera, was a little bit further away from the board. For both divers, not the same distance, but an excellent dive there in second at 49.20. Very good synchronization. Next up, the Turkish divers. Inward dive pike, same dive we saw the Ukrainians perform. The Ukrainians who are still leading at 50.40, the only team that went above 50 points. Timing was good off the board. Very good off the board. Just when they got in the water, they were at different distances. Definitely not the sharpest entries in the water. 40.80 for Team Turkey in 7th place right now. Now, the Georgians. Georgi Sulukidze and Alexander Skomelidze. Forward 1.5 somersault pike. Not completely at the right timing when taking off. Also when coming down from the hurdle, getting back on the board at different timing. Also taking off one ahead of the other a little bit. 44.40 average score on this first dive of the competition for them. Aurélien Pedut and Kevin Sigona from Switzerland, inward dive pike, as always in this first and second round. 2.0 degree of difficulty. Good dive. Very clean in the entries, both of them. She's probably not extremely strong. The jumps should have been much higher to get individual scores higher. 45.50, 45.60, sorry about that. 10th team on the springboard, so the last dive of the first round. Sees Luka and Matej from Croatia, also for them an inward dive pike. Oh, excellent. This is a very strong jump. They go much higher than the Swiss divers before them. The only difference in this dive that caused the synchro scores to go down to 8.5, which is very good, but not 9s, because when they got straight from the pike position, they did it at different times. And we have the standings after the first dive. Ukraine, Italy, Croatia, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Georgia, Great Britain, France, and Turkey. Gotta say that the biggest mistake was by the British divers that we see on screen right now. They, even though they're not last, but I was expecting a better inward 1.5 somersault pike from them. Let's see if they can recover now on their second dive, which is a back dive pike. And the timing is much better than what they did before, but both divers just moved too far back in the water. They jumped quite far away. See the individual scores, 6.5 and 7.5. The synchro was very good, 8. But once again, probably losing 3 to 4 points because of that distance in the entry. Second team, Ukraine, our leaders after the first round of dives. They're also doing a back dive pike. Why so many teams doing the back dive pike? Because in order to do at least 4 groups, they rather use these backward rotations in the volunteers and the required dives in the first 2 groups. An easier back dive instead of a back 2.5 somersault in the optionals. Much easier to compete. Excellent dive. They go above 100 points, 101.40. And that was almost perfect. You see the nines in synchro, very sharp line getting in the water. Legs, toes, and feet perfectly pointed. Team and Max, for them anywhere 1.5 somersault pike. Ready? Took them a little bit to take off. They got back on track, but the beginning of this dive was completely off rhythm. They were moving the board with their ankles and feet before squatting and pressing down the board completely off rhythm. And then they got back on track, got in the water together. Should have been definitely better at, especially individually. Synchro they recovered, but individually they both ended up being quite short. Team Sweden now. We have Folk and Peder, and they were at 45.60 points. And they are showing us an inward 1.5 somersault pike as well. Oh, look at that, very nice. Just not at the same distance from the board. The timing was good, the dives were very, very clean in the entry. They're just not at the same distance. Could have, if they would have been at the same distance, this would have been 8.5s in synchro easily. And now Team France on the board with Baptiste and Pierre. For them, a back 1.5 somersault, half twist. Perfectly synchronized. Baptiste is quite short when getting in the water. Should have done a better job lining up that dive. Too bad, because this was a very easy dive. And I was checking, they are out of the divers, the teams that are performing twisters, because Sweden is not using the twisting group, only France and Georgia are using the twist in the voluntaries. Now we have Team Italy, second place for them in after the first round. And Team Italy is doing an inward 1.5 somersault pike. Very good individual dives, very good synchronization. Matteo Santoro was further away than Valerio in this takeoff. Other than that, it was perfect. 8.5s in synchro, 8s in individual. Very, very good. They seem happy with that. 98-40. They are 3 points behind Ukraine. Team Turkey, Baris and Bertug. For them, a back dive pike. Good timing. Both of the divers in this case, they do not reach very high after the takeoff. The dives are a little bit too low, considering is such an easy dive. They needed to show the judges a stronger jump. Overall, well synchronized, 80-80 at the moment in 7th place. Now the Georgians, Georgia and Alexander. There are in this competition, there are only 3 divers from the B group, and they are the 2 French divers and Alexandre Sokomelidze from Georgia. Good synchronization, once again not the same distance from the board. that is something. It is extremely easy for judges to see that, because once they land, they see the bubbles and the splashes where they come out. Also, seeing the shape of the divers completely in different positions in the water. Next up is Team Switzerland, Aurélien and Kevin. For them, a 4-1.5 somersault pike. And here, once again, not a good timing. Coming down from the hurdle, different jumps on the drive step, and the hurdle comes down at different times, but divers take off in a completely different way. Only 6.5 in synchro because of that. They were off rhythm since the very beginning of the drive step on the hurdle. Luka and Matej from Croatia, our last required dive, our last dive of 2.0 degree of difficulty. After that, we'll start the third round and the optional dives. Let's see. Croatia needs 52.80 to be ahead of Ukraine and 49 points to be ahead of Italy. Very good. Very clean entries for the Croatians. Once again, like the round before, very, very strong jump, very high in the air, 49.80, and they get ahead of Italy by 1.40 points. And we'll have the standings now after 2 rounds. You'll see how close all the top teams are. Ukraine in first, Croatia in second, Italy in third, and all the way down to Turkey, that is closing at 82.80. So 19 points between the last and first team, but especially only 3 points between the first 3 teams. We start the optionals, and we have Team Great Britain. Team Great Britain with Noah and Oscar. They are showing us a forward 3.5 somersault pike. And again, not together throughout the dive. They come down from the hurdle at the same time, but once they take off, not too good. Different timing. Oscar is also further away from the springboard. Individually 6 and 6.5, in synchro 6.5 and 7s. This dive, in this dive, they probably lost between 5 and 10 points. Should have been better synchronization. Our leaders, Cyrilo and Maxime, for them a forward 2.5 somersault, full twist. Ooh, huge mistake by Cyrilo Azarov. Closer to the camera. Yes, I apologize. Is by Maxim Mirza. Further away and also way too far over rotated dive. Didn't stop the somersault. His legs fly over, and these 4.5 5s for him in this dive drop the score quite low for a team that is definitely looking for gold after winning gold last year. And we have the Germans now on the springboard. Big mistake on the hurdle here. Big mistake on the hurdle by Team Axer. He came down, dropping his arms way ahead of time. It was over the end with his feet, completely different time in the somersault. And especially him, Tim struggles a lot in the air. Only 6.5, even a 5.5 in synchro. This is a low-scoring dive by another team that is looking for medals. Now Germany is behind Great Britain at 147, already 13 points behind Team Ukraine. And as I told you before, optional dives much harder. The struggles with the hurdles happen, and it happened to Tim in this case, Team Axer from Germany. Sweden back 2.5 somersault pike. Too bad, they were together in the air. Unfortunately, in this case, Folke did not get a great push off the board. Not enough room to complete his dive, while his teammate Peder goes over. So the worst mistake you can do in synchro, other than getting in the water at different distances, another big mistake, it is one short and one over, and this is what happened for Team Sweden. We have Team France, same dive, but in a tuck position. So the degree of difficulty goes down from 3.0 to 2.8. And the young French divers, once again there from the B group, born 2009. So the youngest team in this event. They do a good job in synchro. Unfortunately, Pierre goes too far over compared to his teammate. That's why you see the synchro scores go down to 6, 6.5. Other than the timing of Pierre in the come out, everything else seemed pretty good. Forward 2.5 somersault full twist for Team Italy, who that should take advantage of the mistake by the Ukrainians and the Germans. An amazing dive by the Italians. Valerio and Matteo are always together throughout the whole dive. Perfect hurdle, the timing is correct. Up in the air together, and this high scoring dive, 168.60 with this 70 pointer dive, very good, and they are 8 points ahead of the Ukrainians. Next up is the team from Turkey. They are doing a forward 2.5 somersault pike. Bertug and Baris. And here is once again the mistake of having a diver very far away from the board and getting in the water, and the other one much closer. The timing is the same. The problem is that distance. This was also an extremely easy dive, just 2.4 degree of difficulty. 41 points for them. And now Team Georgia. Georgi and Alexander. For them, a forward 3.5 somersault tuck. They do a good job. Georgie is slightly short when getting in the water. The somersault is not at the same time. So the somersault are not happening in the same time. Meaning while one person was at the second somersault, the other one was still at 1.5, so they were spinning at different times. But 53.76 overall, they managed to get both of them managed to get vertical. Team Switzerland, they were in 7th place. They are doing the exact same dive as the Georgians before them. They do a better job in the somersault. Good takeoff. Both of them slightly short because they jump too far away, not getting enough speed and space to line up correctly. 52.92 for them on this forward 3.5 somersault tuck. And now Team Croatia. For Team Croatia, who was in 2nd place, also them, same as the Italians, could take an advantage of the mistake by the Ukrainians. And in order to take the lead, they need 70 points. 70.20 with this dive. Inward 2.5 somersault pike for them. Good job in the timing. Luca is pushes the dive further back and ends up getting in the water slightly short while his teammate goes slightly over. So that's another huge mistake. Not only the distances, but different angle of entry. Still, they managed to get 7.5s, and they are behind Team Italy by 4 points. You have the standings here: Italy, Croatia, and Ukraine. So three different. Oh, excuse me. No, Ukraine was leading throughout the first two dives, and now we have new leaders, the Italians. Ukraine actually even behind Team Croatia, lost 2 spots, but we always have these 3 teams on the virtual top 3 spots. Let's start in round number 4, the second optional. It's Team Great Britain, forward 2.5 somersault full twist, the same dive we saw the Italians performing in the previous round. And I gotta say, there's Noah did step back quite a bit on the hurdle, had to push down the dive harder than his teammates. Still gets 7s, so they both get 7s. But see, because of that, the timing in the twist, somersault and twist, wasn't exactly the same. Instead of getting 8s and 9s, they get 7s. Let's see Team Ukraine if they can recover after the previous mistake. They have a forward 2.5 somersault, double twist, 3.4 degree of difficulty, hardest dive so far in the competition. Excellent execution. He's gonna score very high compared to the dives we have seen so far. He's gonna go above 70 points in my opinion. They were off rhythm in the drive step, but then got back together from the hurdle and perfectly in the air. Great twist, great entries. 78.54, as I told you, this is the highest scoring dive so far. And Max and team now from Germany. They were 5th before this dive. Doing a forward 2.5 somersault full twist. They end up getting the water vertical, Max slightly over, but overall together, the thing is that from the takeoff until they finished the twist, they were completely at different spots in the air. They twisted in different way also, so no 8s, 7.5, 64.80. They get at 212 behind Team Great Britain. Sweden now on the board. Reverse 2.5 somersault pike. We do not see many reverse and backs in the optional rounds here. We have 2 reverses, 2.5s back to back now. A pike and a tuck one. Ooh, too bad. Too bad Folk ended up way too short. This dive was very well executed in synchro, perfectly synchronized in the air. When it came out, Folke was way short, even a 3.5 from execution judge number 2. Too bad, because if it would have stayed tight in his core and get it vertical, these could have scored very, very high. I really like that takeoff. Team France now, Baptiste and Pierre. Again, as I said before, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck for the French divers. Mistake there on the hurdle by Baptiste. Struggled because his toes were completely over the end of the board, completely out. Couldn't get the right timing of the board and the perfect jump. Skips forward and doesn't understand at all where is the right time and place his feet on the come out. So only 36.96 points for them here. Valerio Mosca and Matteo Santoro now. They need 70 points to be ahead of Ukraine. With a forward 2.5 somersault double twist, same dive that the Ukrainians did. For the Ukrainians, 78 points on this dive. Let's see if the Italians can do better. And I don't know if they're gonna do better, but they did very well. Only problem with this dive, Valerio was a little bit further away from the board, different distance from the board, but 7-6-50, not as good as the Ukrainians, but good enough to be ahead of the Ukrainians by 6 points now. And 6 points with optional dives that we have seen throughout the week and in other competitions. It's not that much difference. It's very, very close gap between the two teams aiming for gold. Let's move on to Team Turkey. Inward 2.5 somersault tuck for them. We also gotta wait for Team Croatia, who now needs 81 points to take the lead and 70 points, 75 points to get second place. Inward 2.5 somersault tuck by the Turkish divers. Bertu Gambari is slightly too far away. Should have kept that body more on top of the board on the takeoff. They moved backward too much and quite short in the entry, 54-27. The synchro was good. They both did the same mistake. And now the Georgians, Georgi and Alexandre, back 2.5 somersault tuck. 2.8 degree of difficulty for them. They were in 9th place after 3 rounds of dives. Good synchronization, definitely too short in the entry. They needed faster jumps, higher jumps, and the somersault is just not quick enough. But short, 6.5, 17 synchro. 191.88. Switzerland now on the springboard. Team Swiss with Aurélien and Kevin. Forward 2.5, somersault, full twist. For them, mathematically, they cannot reach the leaders, but with 75 points, they can get in front of Team Great Britain. Let's see how they do. And no, that is not going to happen. They're not going to get in top 3 spots at the moment, but that is all due to the fact that since the hurdle, they were off rhythm and also came out of the somersault at different times before twisting. So while one was still in a pike position, the other one was already twisting. And they got back together in the entry, not the cleanest entries, but definitely off rhythm in the dive. 56.70. They're at 194. Luka and Matej, Luka Martinovic and Matej Neveskanin from Zadar, Croatia. They are gonna show us a forward 3.5 somersault pike. For them, 81 points to take the lead. That means 9s, 8.5s and 9s. Different timing here. They do get back in the same timing in the air, but definitely on the hurdle was they were not matching very well, and also Luka ends up way too far past the vertical line. They lose ground compared to the first 2 teams. They're 15 points behind Team Italy. And once again, we're talking about optional dives. Anything can still happen, but 15 points now is quite a gap. You have it here: Italy, Ukraine, Croatia in top 3, then Great Britain, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Georgia, Turkey, and closing in 10th place after 4 rounds is Team France. Let's start the last round. We have Team Great Britain, who was 213 points, and most likely here there's no. Well, they would need a huge present by one of the top 3 teams in order to get a medal. But mainly, they need to get, first of all, before everything else that the other teams do, they have to get a perfect dive here. The dives are very well executed individually. They are not synchronized in the air while somersaulting. Noah was ahead of time here in the somersault. The entries are very nice, very, very nice, very clean. I see no 8s because of that difference in the somersault. 279.48. Well, in this case, now Italy, to pass them, needs 34 points, Ukraine 40, and Croatia 49. So they would have to definitely miss their last round to not get a medal. We have seen that happen. I'm not hoping for that, but it's just the math. Now Team Ukraine, let's see, forward 3.5 somersault pike. Extremely well executed. Extremely well executed. They're so sharp in the pike position. They spin very fast and at very fast speed. Together, slightly too far forward, both divers, but 72.54 on this last dive. Excellent, excellent dive for them. Italy needs 66 points, if I'm correct, on their last dive to regain the lead. Let's see what Team and Max do on their last dive. Forward 2.5 somersault double twist. A chance for them to get ahead of Team Great Britain with this higher degree of difficulty. Team Germany, well, they need 100 points, 99.54 to get the lead. That is highly doubt. I doubt that is going to happen. Mathematically, they could, but they would need 10s. That is not going to happen. Also, in this case, a short dive and an over dive. So, completely missed from that point of view. They did not manage to get what they wanted here. They're already in third place behind Team Great Britain at 269.46. Big mistake for Team Germany that needed a great dive to still hope for a medal. Now on the board is Team Sweden forward 3.5 somersault pike. Too bad they did get a big mistake on the earlier round, previous round. If not, that would have been up there in the fight. And once again here, completely missed. In this round, it's Peder who lands way too short, not completing 3.5 somersaults, and that's why the synchro scores are that low. 247.92. They're right behind Team Germany. Baptiste Alaman and Pierre de Persin. Forward 3.5 somersault tuck for the youngest divers in this event. Completely missed by both divers. Baptiste unfortunately doesn't jump at all up in the air. When he gets in the water, he's almost completely still in a tuck position. Disappointment there. He gets 1 and 1.5. Too bad, but hey, once again, they're very, very young. They're the only team in this competition from the B group. So cheer up, keep on working, and come back next year with more experience. Now we have the Italians looking to get total score of 66.78 on this dive to get ahead of Ukraine. Excellent dives by both Italian divers. Really struggled there on the hurdle by Matteo, but definitely gets back up in the air very fast, super high jump, and let's see what the judges think. And yes, the Italians take the lead at 320.43, and we see them hugging there, cheering. 9s in synchro, 8.5 and 9s for them. Excellent, excellent dive by the Italians. A great competition for them. And now I gotta check. Well, the Croatians, who are still, well, we see Team Turkey finishing their competition with a back 1.5 somersault, 2.5 twist. I was checking the Croatians. They have forward 2.5 somersault, double twist, and they would need 90 points to beat the Italians. That means straight 9s. Well, they mathematically can do it. We gotta wait for the very last dive to see if they do it. Once again, a competition where the last dive will give us the final rankings, the top 3 teams. Team Turkey closes at 222.63. Bodies here in this case just goes too far over in the entry compared to his teammate. And now Team Georgia. Team Georgia, a reverse 2.5 somersault tuck for Alexander and Georgi. Ooh, huge mistake here. Alexander completely goes over the end of the board on the hurdle, pushes way too far forward in the middle of the pool, and 4 and 3 for him. 43.68 points, and Team Georgia is in 6th place right now. I was checking Team Italy right now at 320 points. Last year, this competition was won by the Ukrainians at 299. So both teams, Italy and Ukraine, both teams did much better than last year. Now on the board is Team Switzerland, Aurélien and Kevin, Aurélien Petud and Kevin Sigona. Their last dive is a backward 2.5 somersault pike, 3.0 degree of difficulty. Good timing, very good, excellent time. The synchronization was perfect. Unfortunately for them, this is not going to score very high because both of them go too far over. They just came out too late, so 5 and 5.5 individually, and because of the missed individual dive, the synchronization scores dropped down to 6, 6.5. 50 to 20, and now the last dive. Now we decide who gets what, who gets which medal. For Team Croatia, forward 2.5 somersault double twist, 71 points to be second, 72 points to be second, and 90 points. Oh, completely off rhythm here. Oh, they don't know they're gonna get second. Let's see what the judges think. It was a lot of noise from the board. Luca went off rhythm on the board, and yeah, 66, not the 70 more points needed. A third place for Team Croatia, and we're done with the last final of the day. They seem happy, they hug on deck, happy with their bronze. This has been a very fun event, a lot of great diving this afternoon. Valerio Mosca and Matteo Santoro from Italy that take gold with 320.43 points. Ukraine in second, 311.88, and Croatia in third with 296.43. Fourth, Great Britain. Fifth, Germany. Sixth, Sweden. Seventh, Switzerland. Eighth, Georgia. Ninth, Turkey. And closing the rankings, France in 10th place. Well, ladies and gentlemen, another great day of diving in Rzeszów, Poland this afternoon. It was fun. 3 great finals. We saw the ladies on 1 meter, where we had Ksenia Bocek, Elizaveta Diadiuk, and Eva Ereminova get the medals. In the second final, we had an amazing competition by Robbie Wood from Great Britain taking the gold on 10 meters ahead of Davide Barberi and Eric Passerone from Davide Barberi from Italy and Eric Passerone from Switzerland. Second and third with just 5 points gap between them. And this competition, the last one we saw, just finished with Italy winning ahead of Ukraine and Croatia. Some amazing diving, hopefully more great diving tomorrow. We will start in the morning with the girls A 1 meter springboard preliminary, followed up by the boys A 3 meter springboard preliminary around noon. So 10 o'clock the first event, around noon the second one. But I'll be back here again at 4 o'clock for the finals. For those 2 finals, only 2 finals tomorrow at 4 and at 5, around 5 the second one. I will leave you now. I'm Michele Benedetti, and just stay here. In just a few minutes you will see on screen the victory ceremonies. Come back tomorrow for more great diving at the European Aquatics Junior Diving Championship in Rzeszów. Bye bye, have a great night.